Okay, back out on the walk. My quieter bit of road, probably hear all the noise in the background. Whew, right. So today, I was thinking, watched a bit of Glastonbury at the weekend, a lot of old bands everybody loves. So I was thinking about the formative stuff as well for me. Talked about grunge the other day and how profound an effect that had on me from a musical perspective. So maybe I'll go through a few bands over the next few days of why they mean so much to me. So what I wanted to talk about today was Depeche Mode. Really amazing band when you think about it. Underrated, I think. Probably not by the music critics, but by sort of the general public perhaps, I don't know. Even though they're massive in the US, they're big in Europe, of course. Followed them from the start, loved it, loved the electronic music. I think they've stood the test of time. Maybe the first album's a bit twee, but really one of those bands that has done the reinvention thing really well. You know, I can think of the early stuff. Really liked A Broken Frame, the album. But critically, their highest acclaimed album was their 8th album. And when you think about it, that's pretty amazing. Quite often bands come out with one album, they then decide they're going to do a second album. The second album is often a bit of a disappointment to everyone, or it can be amazing. There's a number of examples of that. But also, to come out with your 8th album and for that to be the one that everybody loves is pretty amazing stuff. So I think one of the things I just wanted to cover was how they've had that effect on me, and you know why I like them so much. So hang on, I've got people here. Sorry about that. Had an interlude. So yeah, the early stuff, really poppy, very poppy actually, but catchy, melodic, great little licks and hooks in them, but all electronic. Then they started to play a bit with guitars. They started banging things like bits of corrugated steel and God knows what. And you know, again, a very charismatic singer. Gets out there, everybody seems to love him. Does a lot of, you know, getting the crowd going. I went to see them first when I was 16, and I saw them multiple times through the 80s, but never since then. So I didn't see the Violator tour at all. Thought about going this year, but it was 150 quid a ticket. I don't know, there's only 2 of them left out of the original 4. Just didn't really want to go back there, I suppose, but I've never abandoned them, and I do love their stuff. They're always in my sort of top 10 bands, maybe even top 5, I don't know. But in the 80s, there was a lot of electronic music. You know, Human League, Heaven 17, you know, Howard Jones, who was from where we're from actually, in Buckinghamshire. There are loads of them. All probably following on from Kraftwerk in the 70s, but anyway. Depeche Mode just, I think, has risen to the top of that tree of bands. The electronic bands, I mean. Ultravox, oof, that's a close second, isn't it? I saw them a lot in the 80s as well. But they stopped. That's the difference, and they didn't really move forward, I don't think. Their albums are vaguely different, but listen to the album A Broken Frame by Depeche Mode, and then listened to Violator. And, you know, within, well, 10 years, I suppose it was, they had really moved on. So yeah, Depeche Mode, I another band that, like I say, it's in my top 10, probably my top 5. Really influenced me in my teenage years, and beyond really, until we got into the kind of Seattle scene, which completely took over for me. But they're still there, and I tried to listen to their album last night, the latest album, which is the first one they've made without Andy Fletcher. Listened to the first song, bit not particularly keen. Listened to the second song, turned it off. Not sure why. I don't know, just didn't. Maybe I'm stuck in the 80s and 90s with them as a band, because obviously they've released lots of albums, and probably the last 2 or 3 I just haven't really got into. But go into that mid 80s, early 90s phase of Depeche Mode if you can. Very strong songs, great melodies, as usual, impeccable musicians, but you know, they're professionals, right? So I think tomorrow we'll do a different walk, and we'll talk about another band that yeah, it was in my top 10. So as you can tell, I'm on a busy road. See you later. Bye.